Rise up, gather round, rock this place to the ground. It's another rootin' tootin' highfalutin podcast with your pals, Horatio Hornblower and Sir Keith of Pennell. That's right, Jason and Tudor back with you on This Show is a JK, the audio Tuesday version coming at you live. I forget what stupid movie that's from. Do you remember?
It's just Pyromania.
That's
nice.
Def Leppard, right. So before we do anything, I want to say two things. One, this show is sponsored by my book. So if you want to get a great science fiction anthology, pick up 7 from the System. That is my new science fiction anthology. It's available on Amazon.com. It's 7 stories. It's about 175 pages. It's a great airplane read. It's a great commuter read. But if you're into science fiction, speculative fiction, if you're into cooking, if you're into chocolate, if you're into any number of other things, my book is your jam. So check it out at Amazon.com. Just search 7 from the System or search my name. It will come right up. The print version, I believe, is $4.99, and I believe the Kindle version is $1.99. You can't beat that.
That is quite the collection of subject matter within that 125 pages.
I tried to be varied. I tried to do, human stories about that had science fiction in them versus doing science fiction stories that had humans in them. I think that's important. So anyway, Amazon.com for 7 from the System. And right up front, I want to apologize to regular listener Matt Davis, because I called him Matt Adams like 14 times on the last show. And
I didn't even catch it.
Yeah, well, I didn't either, but he was kind enough to correct me after he scolded us about some computer things we weren't doing. Matt, I very much appreciate that. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to correct that and get that on the record. And we are off and running. How are you?
I'm well. Stopped in the office today.
You did.
Do the computer
I saw
stuff.
you. You actually exist not just on a camera, but in a human form. That's really good news.
Right.
Right.
Played golf this weekend, which I'm sure we'll talk about momentarily.
We'll get to that.
And so I'm feeling pretty good. And strangely enough, I had to clean up some beer from under my fridge.
Whoa, that's a good night. No, it wasn't. Oh, right.
That's when it exploded in my fridge, so I'm not sure how it got out of my fridge.
That's no good.
Whatever. No, and now we're talking here, and this is I love doing this.
Yeah.
And
are you still thinking
about
it?
Get the echo out of it, and what'd you say?
I said that we're talking about exploded beer. Yeah, we can get your echo out. We can fix that. We can just get you a better mic too. Maybe we can find one of these that I use. One of these little. What is it? It's a Sennheiser MD46. Maybe we can find you one of those. It's old as shit, but I got it for cheap on eBay. But it's
Sennheiser's what I used when I was actually doing radio.
Listen to these pipes. These are good pipes right here on a Sennheiser, aren't they? They're nice. Oh yeah,
they sound
silky.
They sound beautiful. Yes,
I gotta say this was one of the better Memorial Day weekends I have spent in a very long time. So you saw that we traveled up to Berg Eltz and the castle up there, and that was very cool.
That's on my bucket list, right? I was supposed to go there in March when I was supposed to have a visitor.
It's totally cool. Did you go to Kokum yet?
I haven't been hardly anywhere.
All right, so what I would recommend, they're both near each other, right? Take the weekend, go to Kokum, find a place to flop nearby, like a bed and breakfast or a Fair and Vongen or whatever you can find. Wake up, go to the other one. They're both pretty close. Plus, that region is awesome. You get a bunch of gifts for your daughter. You can get a bunch of shit for yourself. It's great.
That's right there in the Taunus Mountains, right?
I have no idea which mountain range you're talking about.
Okay.
That is not in my geography cookbook, unfortunately. You've named a region I am not familiar with. It is in the Rhine Valley, though, and the Mosel area, that whole beautiful area. So even if you... one of the things I recommend, because they are going to start doing the MWR things again, as you noted today, I think, is getting on the Rhine River cruise. If you can do that, you should do that. Even if it's 2 hours on a boat, it's 2 hours to kind of really get you familiar with that whole Mosel Rhine region and the vineyards and the whole bit. It's really, really cool. And you learn how.
Cassidy was here. We did that when Cassidy was here.
Okay, cool.
So we went from Rudesheim, which is
good.
A neat city.
It's fantastic.
North, and I forget where we got up, past Lorelei, and and then we got off into town, had lunch.
St. Gore and that kind of place, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what
it's really one of those tours that everybody should have the opportunity to do. It's beautiful, and you learn about how all these towns don't allow cars on certain days, and it's all bike stuff. It's really neat.
Right. I love the riverboat. It was 2 hours up, 3 hours back because you're going against the current.
Right.
But it's just, we got a sunburn going up. We got rained on. We're wearing coats on the way back, and that's just Germany.
Yeah.
But it was very fun. She really enjoyed it. I got a kick out of it because of course I didn't know where I was going. I'd been in country a month.
Right.
When my daughter got here, or just a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I had my car I got my car the same week my daughter got here.
Right.
So we go to Rudesheim. I'm following Waze, and it says turn here and go. And I'm looking before I make the turn. I'm saying, she's telling me to go into the water. She's telling me to drive into the Rhine friggin' River. And
it's a conspiracy.
I just happened to look up and, okay, you have to take the ferry. Oh, okay, got it. Got it.
Yeah.
And it's very cool. Cassidy got a big kick out of that. I'm going to step off for just a second and grab my phone because somebody texted me. I want to make sure it's nobody listening.
All right, so I will fill in while you do that. And what I will fill in to tell you folks is that today's bracket is fantastic. It is most memorable athlete names. And this time around we had one prediction. But what I want to tell you is for the upcoming video Saturday bracket. Now let me look for the Saturday date here. I believe that is the 30th. So for the May 30th video show, we're going to have another bracket, topic to be determined. That's on Keith. But we're going to give away a show T-shirt this time around, courtesy of us. Now, we can't tell when it's going to get there. All we can do is order it for you in the size that you want and then send it to your address. But given all the mailing conditions and everything else, we don't know when that'll happen. But the key is you put in a prediction. If your prediction is the winner, we'll send you a T-shirt. If you tie for a win, then we'll send you a T-shirt too. We'll figure it out. So anyway, the Saturday, May 30th bracket is the first ever T-shirt giveaway. Be sure you have to go to a prediction. Now, we're not endorsing this site or anything. It just happens to be the site we're using. It's called Challonge. I didn't name it. CHALLONGE.com. And we'll always provide you the address in advance so you can make predictions. Today was a little rushed because we didn't know what we were going to do today, and I thought up the bracket later in the day. So today's bracket will be, when we get to it, most memorable athlete names. And now you're back from, I vamped. That was a good vamp, by the way. That's the way people should vamp. It really is. So the weekend, we started out on Saturday, and the weather was really shitty. It was, that sort of gray. It was that fantastic southwestern Germany gray rainy day. A lot that so many people know. And we said, well, we're not going to go do the castle today. That would just be a spoiler. And besides, it's Saturday. There's going to be more people there probably today than there would be, say, on Monday, which, more Germans will be working and more Americans will be out and about. So Saturday was just sort of a pickup day. Like, we went to Globus. I got some new foods. That was a good time. Then we went over to the commissary, and they had all the stuff we wanted. I was trying to think, so the big run at the commissary, I don't know if you've noticed what the runs are, but the run I've noticed is fruit for smoothies is really like gone. So in our commissary, which is, if you're not familiar with commissaries, big giant grocery store on a military base essentially, they have frozen food section on the last row. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4 freezer columns. So if you're looking at like an Excel spreadsheet, it's 4 columns deep, and I think it goes 4 rows deep, and the columns are about 2.5, 3 feet wide. Gone. That's usually filled with like those cut up strawberries and whatever berries people throw into smoothies and stuff like that. Gone. Just gone. And then the usual stuff was gone, like mac and cheese, but Annabelle didn't want it this time, so it was no big deal. Still out of strawberry Pop-Tarts. So I haven't figured that one out. Which
commissary are you going to?
Big one, Ramstein, big one.
They always have macaroni and cheese when I go.
At the big commissary? I didn't see it this time. They were out. Huh. And I think they were still limiting cheese, but we didn't really buy any cheese this time, so it wasn't that big a deal.
They have been out of honey buns for the last 2 months.
What about zebra cakes?
Oh no.
You're good on zebra cake.
Riot.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So we finished up there, and then we went over to the BX, and you had a little bit of extra cash, so we bought a couple things, and so that was basically Saturday. Then that was, we did that, and I came home. I did some writing and some art, the usual stuff. Clicked over, and then Sunday comes around, and what did we do Sunday?
You went to we played golf.
Let's try that again. All right. So let's.
Sorry.
So everyone, we're going to do this one again. I'm going to give Keith a better chance to give a better exclamatory response. Okay. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. And what did we do Sunday?
We played golf.
There it is. See, that's what I wanted the first time. That's so much better. That's right. We played effing golf, and it was great, except for the part that I will get to. But you were playing fairly well until about the third hole, and then you were either attacked by a horde of gremlins, or you were invaded by some sort of COVID-20 anti-golfing antibody or something, but you just started to get a little grouchy, and your game got a little out of whack.
It did. And as I explained, and I've said this before on the show, There's no reason for me to get mad. Absolutely none.
None.
I'm not a good golfer.
You're a great golfer. Listen, first of all, don't listen to him. He can hit a great drive as straight as he wants. He can be great from about 150 yards in. I think he suffers the same thing I do from about 175, 200 out. Like, which club is it? I've seen him play some magnificent golf. I think he caught some sniffles that day for about 5 holes with our friends Garrett and Alex. And then what was it?
Derek.
Oh, I thought it was Garrett. Derek and Alex. And
that's a husband and wife team, by the way.
It is. And we'll talk about them more in a sec because they were awesome. And then like for the last 3 holes, he was like, I don't want to say Jack Nicklaus, but I mean, you were pretty good. You were like Duffy Waldorf. How's that?
I'll take that.
That's old school. But it was a great day. Didn't rain.
It was a great day.
Right.
It wasn't too warm. It wasn't too cold for me. And, again, I do that every time I play, though. I can hit this shot. I know I can hit this shot.
Yeah.
Whack. Why the fuck didn't I hit that shot? That kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
That's what makes me mad. I went to the range last week, worked on some things. They were working on the range. I get out on the course, and they weren't working as well or at all. And then they finally did.
Yeah.
And that's why I get mad. I don't get mad at anybody. I don't get mad at the way anybody's playing unless they're playing slow. And that wasn't the case. But I get mad at me.
Keith will throw a club, by the way. I used to be like...
No, I was dropping clubs. I didn't throw anything.
You didn't throw? I thought you threw one.
No.
But like he was ready to. So, but I mean, it was a lot of fun, and the people we were paired up with, Derek and Alex, were very nice. He is going to be an Air Force pilot someday, which is really good for our Air Force. He's currently doing some great stuff in civil engineering.
Did you see that dude's arms?
It was a gun show, my friends. It was a gun show.
He was like the Rock arms. He was big.
And his lovely wife was in pre-med, so all the best to her as well. But it was a very good day. So now here's my post-game story, all right?
I need to find me a girl that can play golf, that will play golf.
There are plenty. So anyway, Keith and I, what hole did we decide to call it on? Like 13 or 14? Was it 14? 14, I think.
Yeah, so, we did not play 14.
Right. So Keith and I had basically had enough at 13. It was getting late. I think we were both. It was the first time we both golfed in a while. We were kind of like, okay. It had to be like 5:30, 6 o'clock anyway. So we just.
I got home at 6:15.
So okay, so I definitely didn't have the energy to go the rest of the 5 holes. Just simply because I hadn't golfed in a while, I wasn't used to the pace, whatever. But also because my hips and my joints were hurting a little bit. So I was like, all right, let's call it. And it was gracious. We called the night, got home. I have not hurt that much in a very long time. Dude, seriously, it was like one of those Air Force fucking Bluebird buses smashed me, dragged me across Ramstein Air Base, left me at the exit, and made me walk home. I was hurting. I got home. Fortunately, I found the extra strength ibuprofen I've had from a previous prescription, which was like 400 grams. I took 2 of those. I drank a bunch of water, and I could barely move. I mean, I could barely move. It was crazy. So I think I got in bed at like 8:30, which is nuts for me. You know that. I'm usually up till like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, like doing whatever. And I was in bed by like 8:30, woke up at like 1:05, and I went, whoa, it's 1:05. Got up, went downstairs, ate a Pop-Tart, went back to bed, woke up at 3:45, and went, what am I doing awake at 3:45? Stayed up for like another 20 minutes, fell back asleep, slept till 9, woke up. Fortunately, the bed we have has one of those awesome memory foam things, and it just sucks that pain right out of me. Woke up, felt great, hit it again. But dude, I was seriously... It was like I pissed The Rock off and he decided to take it out on me. It was not a good time at all. I was very surprised at how much pain I was in. It was really weird. Do you ever get that way? I mean, are you at an old age where you get that sort of rickety sort of I slept wrong pains or anything like that?
Not necessarily that, but like you said, I felt it the next morning, Monday morning. I felt it before I went to bed. I always take aspirin before I go to bed when I do something like that.
Yeah.
So it's so I'm ready. But coming down the stairs, it sounded like fireworks were going off, between my knees and my ankles, and so that was the next morning. And so yesterday, Monday morning, I could not wake up.
Yeah.
That's why I finally decided, all right, get your ass out of the house and go see this thing.
The Dragon's
Teeth. Yeah, the Dragon's Teeth that Jason clued me into. And get out of the house and walk around a little bit. And I felt great after that.
Now, tell us about your Dragon's Teeth adventure, because it's similar to mine, because I had just gone to see it. Did we go do that No, we did that Sunday.
Right.
We did that Sunday morning as part of our sort of let's get out of the house before I came to golf with you.
Right. The Dragon's Teeth are a little piece of German World War II history. And what we saw is just a small piece of what was a miles and miles and miles,
right.
or since we're in Germany, kilometers long wall.
Right.
They look literally like I would assume Dragon's Teeth are similarly look like.
If they were filed down.
Right. Hitler had these things put in, established this Siegfried line built to stop tanks coming in. Now, they were then taken down in the early 40s before the end of the war.
Right.
But so you have these big pylon, concrete blivets, rebar reinforced things.
Yeah.
And then in between horizontal lines, you have big pits. So the tanks, if they got over these things, which of course are also topped with, they're not now, but they would have been topped with barbed wire and mines and all that, their nose would have nosed over into these pits, which were allegedly filled with water to drown the tank crew.
Right. They were used to deter tanks, but they were also used to funnel them in for kills, is what I read as well. I think what was interesting is I'm guessing there was some sort of command post up ahead of where this was. So if you're a geography nut and you want to know where this particular sighting was, I live in a village called Brookmühlbach, and it's just east of that by about 10 minutes. I could give you the Google coordinates if you're that crazy about it, but it's off of one of the, I want to say it's a state road. I think it's a state road, and it's about 100 or 200 meters just off the state road. So what you have to do is you're essentially parking in someone's driveway, which they don't mind. They know people park there to do this, as long as they don't get like 100 people, which is, I suppose, probably never happens. And then what we do is we parked across the street, we cross the road, and then you go up a trail like you're going to go to this person's house, and then you go off to the left. There's sort of a bike path, and the Rhineland Pfalz, the Rhineland Palatinate, is there's a huge amount of forest here, and there's a huge designated forest where this starts as well. So when you're right on the edge of where this forest starts, and when you walk this 300 meters, you're sort of walking off to the left, and there's this beautiful emerald and green, shades coming at you. And then right as you look off to the left at that 300-meter mark, boom, there they are, moss-covered, and I mean, real steep too, right? I think this thing that worried me, I wore the wrong shoes. I wore my AK-47 flip-flops. We can talk about those another time. I'm sure somebody knows what those are, but I wore those and I was like, well, I need to be barefoot to climb these things. This isn't going to work. So I took them off, and then I saw the rebar poking out of the cement, and I was like, woof. So I had to tell Annabelle and Dee Dee, hey, watch out for the rebar that's sticking up. You might hurt you. So it was very cool. We wandered around on it. It's an interesting leftover. It's not necessarily solemn, and it's not necessarily, like you have to pause and reflect, but it's one of those things, like if you were to go to the Boneyard, right, in Davis-Monthan and see all the old aircraft. I think it's something more akin to that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally different viewpoints, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a little piece of history.
Right.
It's like going to see, and somewhere around there. In fact, I may have been across the road where you are, where there's like a horse riding club now, or something like that over there.
Yeah, I know what
just
you're
right
talking
across the road.
Mm-hmm.
That actually sits, or one of the huts there sits on top of an old bunker.
Okay.
So is what I was reading. So that is, I almost used the word littered. I don't want to say littered. That kind of thing, if you're a history buff, and we have one side of that war history from America. And then being over here, of course, Nazis bad. I'll never say different, but not a lot of the German army was conscript, and if you didn't come with them when they came by and joined the army, you got shot and killed. So you can't blame everybody who joined the German army. But so war history, the things that are here. Like those bunkers, and in France. And I felt a little funny being there on the Dragon's Teeth and Hitler, knowing Hitler built this on American Memorial Day, but, that's just timing.
At a similar time that we were doing that, our mutual friend Jim Brooks, who just retired from civil service as a public affairs officer in Italy, he was climbing around some similar, well, not similar, but foxholes in Italy that were created during World War I. So I agree with you. There are incredible sorts of patches, literal geographical patches of history that you run in here too. And sometimes you are just inadvertently exposed to these inadvertent war patches of history, like when they extracted 5 bombs out of the ground near the Opal plant. You're listening to This Show is a JK with your pals Keith and Jason. Don't forget, if you like listening to us, then listening to us, subscribe, please, on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Spreaker, and wherever else you might find good podcasts. We highly recommend iTunes and writing a review, because that helps the algorithm and it helps us get seen a little bit. Thanks to all of you who subscribe and listen, or just pick us up on the video or wherever you do. We certainly do appreciate your feedback. It's always great hearing from folks like Matt and Darren and others. George Brown, our friend today, said he listens to the podcast. He loved it. He talked about one of the discussions that we had. So thank you, George.
And Jay and his wife, Ray, listen to every show now.
Ray is a saint, and you never acknowledged it, but I will. Ray, I got your back. You're a saint. George was kind enough to come in and talk a little bit about his education and some of that, and so on and so forth. You know what's coming up that's interesting to me is, and it's got to interest you a little bit, is high school graduation. And graduations I think in general, right, in high schools and colleges, and that's coming up. And how different classes and courses are coping with that. And it made me think back. I had a prigular. That's a new word, everybody. Prigular. Look it up.
No, it's not.
Prigular. Prigular. I had a pretty regular graduation. My class. And how big was your graduating class?
I had almost 400 in mine.
Okay, so we weren't too far off. I had 538 in my graduating class of Point Loma High School in 19 and it it took place in their football field, and it was, there was a shit ton of people. And I don't know if your graduation was similar to mine, but you did not get your diploma when you walked. You got it after you walked, because if you fucked around and did something stupid, you was not going to get your diploma, at least immediately. At least if it was a misdemeanor or a felony, you're probably not going to get it for a while. But Did they just hand you yours in where did you graduate high school from, by the way?
I graduated from Bellevue West, the home of the Thunderbirds,
Illinois.
the Bellevue West Thunderbirds in Bellevue, Nebraska, just outside
Nebraska.
Omaha. I had Offutt Air Force.
Offutt, okay. So it's interesting to kind of see what's happening. So the Dodge schools are doing some kind of drive-by, pass and review graduation thing. Dee Dee has been making a bunch of signs for that. And there's one, her best sign is boomers didn't get to have a motorcade like you do, or something like that. That's a pretty good one, because I guess the kids are really obsessed with boomers, which you and I are not. We're Gen X. And so that's interesting. So have you seen anything else as to the way graduations are going to be handled? How was Cassidy's graduation? How did that go for her? Where did she graduate from?
She is a graduate of the University of Science and Arts, USA Arts, Science and Arts of Oklahoma, USAO, in Chickasha, Oklahoma, and they didn't have a graduation.
Oh,
they said have fun.
Now, wait, was that high school or college?
That was college.
Okay, well, what's high school though?
Yeah, now she graduated from Choctaw High School.
Oh, an Aryan outlaw.
Just outside Tinker Air Force Base.
My father was a Chippewa.
That's right.
Is that it?
Maybe it was a Chippewa.
Tim.
And they had a huge graduating class. It was in one of the local Baptist churches, which you can imagine in Oklahoma was huge. It's huge church.
Biggest you ever seen.
It was good stuff. Now, I just saw my cousin who lives in, this town.
Yeah.
Round Rock.
I do know Round Rock.
Texas. They live there, and the twins, my cousin's kids, are graduating or have graduated, I guess. But they obviously did not get a graduation. Yeah. But they did the whole, as we saw in Baumholder, the parade with the cars. The students line up with cars or in their cars and drive around, and people stand on the street and congratulate and cheer and all that, which I think is fantastic. And I'm glad they get something. It's different than walking across the stage, so it will be
memorable.
They may not have. That's it, exactly. It'll be memorable.
So Round Rock is the home of the minor league baseball team that Nolan Ryan used to own for a very long time, and it is interesting how people are adapting and sort of making this their own. I mean, there's any number of things, and if you think about it, you don't have to sit through a boring speech and sort of do the pedantic, scripted blah blah blahs. You're basically free to create on the fly what you can given the parameters that you have, and that's kind of cool. Now let me ask you this: did you do any dumb shit before you graduated? So my school had we had something called Grad Night, which was this trip to Disneyland. I'm pretty sure you didn't have that, but I mean, was there anything similar? Did you go to some sort of snowbank in Nebraska where you just stood in front of the snow and admired it, or what did you do? Nothing?
No.
Okay.
I know there was a senior skip day, but I was too scared to get in trouble. I was going to say,
that was my next one, senior skip day. I did that, and we ran from the police twice, so that was pretty cool.
If we did it, it was with my best friend in high school, who's still one of my best friends.
Yeah.
I won't name him because of what I'm about to say.
Won't name you, Tom.
But, we did. No, you know what? I don't know what the statute of limitations is, but we would.
I think that's a joke anyway.
Yeah, well, maybe not. But we would commit. Not. What's the word I'm looking for? I've just lost my train of thought. Not gratuitous, but mild acts of vandalism.
What exactly is a mild act of vandalism, pray tell?
Okay, they were building a housing addition right next to the high school.
Yeah.
During our junior and senior year.
Right.
So our senior year, my friend and I, and outside the model homes, they had the name of the home.
Yes.
So one of the names
was
the
Tara
Essex.
from Gone with the Wind.
Yes. So one of the names was Essex, Essex.
Yeah, I see it coming already.
And the number 2, or the Roman numeral 2. So we went and spray painted over the first E and the S.
Right.
So it said sex 2. Something like that. And lighting off bottle rockets as we drove down streets and things like that. No, nothing that would cause a lot of damage or anything like that. But we had fun. We made ourselves laugh and entertained ourselves a lot.
So our senior ditch day was basically just drinking and running around and doing stupid shit. But a couple places we went to, the cops came and arrested us, and we had to run one way, and then they came and arrested us again in another. And by the time we were done, it was like 4:30 in the morning. I just remember that. We woke up on somebody's lawn in Point Loma. That was a lot of fun. And then, so Grad Night, if you're Californian, specifically if you're Southern California, you're probably really familiar with Grad Night. I'm not even sure if they still do it. They probably do. But Grad Night is a program that Disneyland has where your high school class goes to Disneyland, and it's yours for the night. Now you're probably with I don't recall, but I think you're with a couple of other classes. So like we're a class of 500. I don't know what the capacity of Disneyland is, but they probably go to like 50 or 60% capacity. Anyway, you basically get on a bus and you get to Disneyland at about 6 or 7 o'clock, and it's yours until I think 11 or midnight or something like that. And then you drive back to your place, and that's it. Well, this is an opportune time, if you're not aware, Keith, for high school seniors to get really fucking drunk and high. So this was my first experience with watching people take mushrooms and just zone the fuck out, which was really, really new to me. And by that time, within my own family, I had experienced pretty much the entire plethora of drug use. But I had not seen someone take mushrooms yet because I thought, so people are eating the mushrooms on the steak and getting high? I was naive. I couldn't differentiate. But then I discovered that these kind of mushrooms were different and they had give you a high and all that, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, my friends who shall not be named, they got on the bus beforehand and were like, nom, 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 nom. And when they got off the bus and they got to Disney, they were like, whoa, look at all the lights. I mean, all the cliche shit you could think of. It was hilarious. And, you wander around and go on the rides for 5 hours. You try to get laid and you go home. And that's it. So it's a really good time. And it's a great thing Disneyland does. I think they were still doing it because I asked my sister about it when she graduated, which was well, it was a few years ago. But she said they were still doing it about 10, 15 years ago. So I assume they're still doing it now. I'm sure it's a money-making program that they don't want to deny. So, But I did get my diploma. That's what really mattered. Did I what?
Did you get laid at Disneyland?
Not at Disneyland, but I mean, I don't kiss and tell. So, but I will say that in 1986, just to add a little color to the story, in 1986, which was the year before I may have graduated, a friend and I went to Disneyland 27 times.
Wow.
And we did that because, well, we both worked a little, but, Disneyland's expensive, right? So in order to go to Disneyland, you have to have money. So in order to get money, we would find things to return to Target. Target had the single most liberal return policy on earth. And the one thing they took back a lot of that we had both had a shit ton of or we could get hold of were cassette tapes. Every cassette tape was $8. So if you bring in 13 cassette tapes, you were pretty much set for the day at Disneyland. So anyway, that enabled us to go to Disneyland 26 times and to pursue the kinds of things that you mentioned earlier that I don't get into discussing. All right, so again, you're listening to This Show is a JK with your pals Keith and Jason, reliving our high school memories, apparently. But it is that time of year when you talk about graduation, and it is interesting to kind of figure out, I wonder what kids are doing, that's highly suspect during COVID time, how they're getting away with it even.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Because their parents are locking that down.
And do they need to leave the mask on or off? Anyway, so we're going to get right into our bracket now, which we discussed earlier, which is now some of our listeners, we understand sports is not your thing, but this is related to sports, but it has nothing to do with sports itself. It has to do with people with amazing names who are in athletics. Now, this has been done by, you can hit the internet and just look up athletes with weird names or athletes with odd names, and you will find lists of these things. And so this has been going on a long time. So I thought tonight, between Keith and I, who are both sports nuts, in fact, I was telling Keith earlier before we came on that apparently Dak Prescott was offered a $210 billion contract and he refused it.
Fake news.
And he said he wanted Jeff Bezos money, which it was fake news, but it was still funny.
Fake news.
So I picked 16 of what I thought were the best names, and we're going to go through them. Now, have you looked at the list?
I took a quick peek at it, and
Okay,
you told
cool.
me earlier today when I saw you in the office that Dick Buttkiss is not on the list.
Didn't make the list. I probably could have threw him under honorable mentions, but his is that's one of those file that under too easy, like with Mike Ditka. So, 16 names. So your reactions will probably mostly be genuine. And so here are the honorable mentions before we get into the face-offs here. Again, 16. So the honorable mentions are my favorite, Ruben Boomche, who was one of my favorite basketball players. I believe he came out of Georgetown. Have a Look Dubé, who's a football/soccer player. Fair Hooker, who I believe was a football player. Guy Whymper, he was a football player as well. I Am Hip, I don't remember what he played. And then
I do. He played at Nebraska.
Did he really?
I think so, yeah.
You can look him up while you're
running back for Nebraska.
I think I recall that as well. And then Majestic Map is also under the honorable mentions. And I'm sure if you're listening, you have your own honorable mentions and folks that you would canonize as having, weird or odd or different names in athletics. So before we get off on this, we're not making fun of the names. Again, this has been canonized by other people. We are simply just capitalizing on what other people have had, and most of the athletes here understand their names are unique. So what Keith and I are shooting for here is most unique name amongst them. So I have a feeling we're going to have more disagreements on this bracket than any other. So here we go.
I Am Hip, drafted out of Nebraska in 1980.
Good memory for you. That is fantastic.
Oh, I looked it up. I'm not.
Well, no, I know. But you remembered and then you looked it up, though.
That's because OU Nebraska, man. Come on.
Yeah. Good point.
That's that rivalry. Okay, let's hit it.
The 8-9 matchup is a current football player, although he may have just retired, DeBrickashaw Ferguson. DeBrickashaw is a fantastic. It just rolls off. And baseball player Coco Crisp. Now, Coco is not his. So I should caveat this by saying some of these are nicknames, but some of these are actual names. And as I remember them, I will try to note which ones are and are not. Coco is a nickname, I believe. I think, but that's what he's gone by. So DeBrickashaw versus Coco Crisp. Keith.
I am, just because of the way it rolls off the tongue, going with DeBrickashaw.
Yeah, I am
now,
too.
Now, that one I know, and Coco Crisp I know as well.
Yep. Those are DeBrickashaw is a great name. I mean, just saying it makes me feel better. All right, that was an easy one. All right, let's go to the
names that make you feel good.
Here's the 7-10. I didn't know either of these names until I did the research, but they're both fucking fantastic. Okay, the 10 seed, and this one was on a few lists that I found. Sham God, who I believe is a basketball player, and Danger Fourpence, who is a soccer/football player. Danger Fourpence versus Sham God.
Okay. Wow. I think Sham God is pretentious.
Pretty bold.
And yet pretentious and yet humble with
Pretty
the first
bold.
and last name.
Yeah.
Anyway, but so I've got to go with the other one.
Danger Fourpence, yeah.
Danger Fourpence.
I think I would have been more on the side of Sham God if his name had been God Sham Wow, because then we would have threw into some Sham Wow jokes in this. But I'm with you. I'm gonna go with Pirates of the Caribbean extra and soccer player Danger Fourpence. And we will move him on as I submit the scores. And then we will check PJ's bracket because he has the one this week that's in there. All right. 8-11. These are both fucking great. All right, you ready? The 11 seed is Jim Bob Cooter. The
football player. Right?
Football offensive coordinator.
Okay, yeah.
The 8 seed is a guy named Stubby Clapp. You can't make this shit up. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure Stubby Clapp, that's a nickname. Jim Bob Cooter, that's a real name. That's his
real name, yeah.
And he's highly regarded, but his name is directly out of Deliverance, frankly.
Is he the LSU offensive coordinator?
No, he was a pro. Let me look him up. He's a pro.
Okay, that's all right. So Jim Bob Cooter and Stubby
Clapp. like I caught the clap. Jim Bob Cooter coached for the Jets. He was previously offensive coordinator for the Lions, played college football at the University of Tennessee, and played with the Colts, Chiefs, and Broncos before being hired by the Lions. How about that? Told you, he's well-liked.
Jim Bob Cooter.
Jim
Bob Cooter.
Yeah, I'm for Jim Bob.
Stubby Clapp.
Yeah, I'm for Jim Bob. I like Stubby Clapp.
Bob, yeah.
Stubby Clapp is one of those great 30s, 40s names. And coming to the plate now is Stubby Clapp. He's batting from the right-hand side. He's got a heck of a swing on him. He's been 4 for 5 today, and he's gonna hit one out. That's
a little bit short.
A little bit short. Yeah. He's got a little bit tiny strike zone. But Jim Bob Cooter has always been an all-timer for me. So I'm taking Jim Bob. Who are you taking?
I'll go with Jim Bob too. Yeah.
All right. So no arguments yet. I'm surprised.
Yeah, mainly because that's his real name, and he had to live with that.
He has to live with that. Real no shit name. I know, it's wild. All right, your 5-12 matchup. A couple of pretty good names at our first female entrant, or actually our only, unfortunately. The 12 seed is Peekaboo Street.
Yep. The skier.
The skier, and the 5 seed is Your Highness Morgan.
Again with the pretentiousness.
Your Highness. Literally, if you called him by your first name, would have to call him Your Highness. Now, this reckons back to me, and many will know this, that Jermaine Jackson named one of his sons Your Majesty, which is another fantastic name.
You think I knew that?
I think you knew that too, yeah. So Your Highness is right in that sort of same bracket of names of Your Highness and God and, others. But
so is it first name, last name, Your Highness?
No,
or is it
first name Your Highness. Literally the two words mashed together, Your Highness, and last name Morgan. And of course,
Morgan.
Peekaboo.
Highness Morgan.
Peekaboo Street is a cute name. Peekaboo, which is every 3-year-old's favorite game. And Street, those are great names. So this is a tough one for me. Yeah, I'll let you choose first.
I'm going with Peekaboo.
Okay.
Peekaboo.
Your Highness Morgan is pretty memorable, but I know who Peekaboo Street is too, so I'll consent on that one. But she's a 12 seed, so that's our first big upset of the day. I thought Your Highness Morgan was going to go forward on that one. All right. So, actually, no, it's not our big. Jim Bob Cooter was another upset with the 11 over a 6. So Peekaboo's a 12 over a 5. Now, here's your 4-13 matchup. The 13 is Captain Munnerlin, who's a defensive back. I believe he plays for the Bills now, but I think he's played for a few teams. And the number 4 seed, one of my lifelong favorites, from Mississippi State, offensive tackle, Pork Chop Womack. Now, I'm just going to say right now, Pork Chop Womack, if I get my way, will be in the final round because that is the best name ever.
He's moving forward, and just to me, and I realize it's what we do for a living and what you've done for so long.
Yeah,
Captain. I don't want to call anybody captain when I don't have to.
I think it's a neat name. I like that. His name is Captain Munnerlin. I mean, hey, Captain, my Captain. You could have a lot. It's a very
Captain, right.
It's a very positive sort of refrain, and there's a couple of studies, at least, many articles, many expert opinions that say a name can very much help you in life, or it can very much hinder you in life. So that's one of those names that just feels like, hey, Captain. It's very sort of, you hear it and you're like, hey, hey, Stubby. One of the. Okay, so all right. So good thing is we both agree on Pork Chop Womack. That's really all that matters. So on he goes. All right.
I love pork chop.
Pork Chop Womack. Okay, your 3-14 matchup. Oh, another great one. Your 14 is Boof Bonzer, who is a pitcher, I believe, for either the Cardinals or someone else, a few teams, against one of my all-time favorites, Earth, Wind, Moreland. Like Earth, Wind, and Fire, but all one word. Earth, Wind, Moreland. His actual name, Earth, Wind. That's a great name. Not as good as our number 2 seed? Not as good as our number 2 seed, but still pretty good.
So, I don't know if I can. Boof has a totally different connotation.
Boof Bonzer that sounds like. I I'm not sure what that sounds like.
Well, we'll talk about it off the air. Boof. So yeah, Earthwind is a great name.
Earthwind
so
Moreland.
Earthwind has to move forward.
Yeah, that's a strong 3 right there. Earthwind Moreland is strong. Sorry, Boof. Next time. I threw Boof on there. I wasn't sure where you'd fall with Boof, but I thought he might be a stronger compete with you. So, all right. 215, I love both of these names. I just discovered the 15 seed today. But the number 2 is an all-timer. It's on every list. It always comes up. The 15th seed is a soccer player, and his actual name is Credence Clearwater Cuoto. Now, you know the first two. The last one is spelled Cuoto. Credence Clearwater Cuoto. I see a bad name rising. The number 2 seed...
You can find him down on the corner.
The new number 2 seed, very good, is wonderful, middle name terrific, Mons, baseball player. Good one, as I recall. Wonderful Mons. That's his name.
What if he wasn't, though? How would you live that down?
But he was. Wonderful, and his middle name was terrific. That just makes it even better for me. So, who you got?
I'm going with CCC.
Oh. You're going Credence Clearwater Cuoto. That's a 15 seed. I'm going with Wonderful Mons, so you're going to have to flip a coin here. It's a coin flip brought to you by my book, 7 from the System, on Amazon.com, as Keith finds his Dallas Cowboys coaster and flips it on video as I watch. Go ahead, I'm watching. Amazon.com, 7 from the System, Jason Tudor. It's easy to find. What'd you get?
That's it.
Was that me or was that you? All right, so Credence Clearwater Cuoto from the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie moves on. All right,
Credence Clearwater
Cuoto. Cuoto. What was Cuoto from? Oh, Total Recall. That's what I was thinking of. Total Recall. All right, so 15 minutes in, we're into our number 1 matchup, all-timer. But your 16 seed against the all-timer. Your 16 seed is a cricket player. His name could not be more English, Australian, otherwise that particular region if you tried. His name was Neville. And his competitor is the late, great stock car driver, you say it with me, Dick Trickle. First of all, Neville is fantastic. Another name that I discovered today. And when I saw his picture, I went, yep, that's Neville. Had the cricket sweater on, had that cricket face. I mean, that cricket game face. He was ready to go. I'm like, that guy's Neville. But Dick Trickle, I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Dick Trickle passes the competition and moves forward. And I'm just picturing Neville, the cricket player.
You'll have to look him up when we're done. Neville. Just look up Neville cricket. He'll come up. All right, so we knew Dick Trickle would move forward. All right, so we should be able to get through the round of 8 pretty quickly, and then we can do some more debate in the round of 4. All right, so at the bottom again, we have your 3 versus your 11, Earthwind Moreland versus Jim Bob Cooter. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. Or, do you remember the 20th of September?
I'm going to go with Earth Wind. I'm in the music mode today.
Say you remember, buddy. Yeah, I'm with you. Earth, Wind, Moreland's got to move on there. So that was a good rendition. We'll probably get it ripped out.
No,
for
it was
copyright.
not bad at all.
Yeah, it was good. All right, Earth, Wind, Moreland moves on. Someone will disagree with that. 15-7, your boy, Credence Clearwater Total Recall Cuoto versus Danger Fourpence from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a tough one. This is a good one. Good names. I mean, just good substantive names. I'm going with, I still like Danger Fourpence. I'm actually thinking about writing that name into a book. That's a great name. Maybe his cousin Danger Sixpence None the Richer from that band that I think they were Irish or whatever.
No Danger Pinafore.
Danger Fourpence.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I'll go with Danger.
All right, good. and I will avoid the danger Mike Pence joke. So we'll just ride that one right over.
Ooh.
Someone else will make that joke. All right, 412. You already know how I'm going to vote here, so this one's just up to you. Your 4 is Pork Chop Womack. Your 12 is Peekaboo Street. This is not even a contest for me.
Who are you going with?
Pork Chop Womack.
Well, that's where I was going.
I'm appreciative with Peekaboo Street, but Pork Chop Womack is just an all-timer.
And what did you say? What sport?
Football, offensive tackle. When I think Pork Chop Womack, honest to God, I think offensive tackle. I think he retired like 7 or 8 years ago. He was pretty good.
All right, yep. Pork Chop moves on.
All right. You should have seen Keith contemplating. I think he had a little steam coming out of his ears. That was quite fun to watch.
Well,
all right.
Because I didn't want to throw Peekaboo away. But...
No, I don't either. But great name, but most memorable athlete names. All right.
Yes.
So your 1 and 8 is your boy DeBrickashaw versus Dick Trickle.
Dick Trickle.
Wow, that was fast.
You cannot. I mean, DeBrickashaw, like I said, you're just happy when you say that.
Yeah.
It comes off the tongue. You're happy when you say DeBrickashaw.
That's great.
But, Dick Trickle is. You're not going to beat Dick Trickle unless you have a strong, strong, strong name.
Yep. All right. As we get up against about 10 minutes left on the show, here it is, the round of 4, the final 4. Your first final 4 matchup. Danger 4pence. 6pence none the richer. What was that?
My daughter calling me.
Oh, do you need to take it?
But it can wait 10 minutes.
All right. Danger 4pence versus Earth, Wind, Moreland.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Danger 4pence versus Earth, Wind, Moreland.
Okay. Oh no,
Keith is distracted right now. You're gonna take 4pence. All right. Well, you're gonna have to flip that coaster because I pick Earth, Wind, Moreland. I like Danger 4pence, but he has lost his charm at to this point. Now we're down to the nitty gritty here, folks.
All right, you get the Dallas sign this time, just so you.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a dog on my phone screen, and it better not be my daughter's.
Yes, Earth, Wind, Moreland moves on.
All right, Earth, Wind. I can live with that.
I can dig both names, but I mean, if we're talking memorable, I mean, Earth, Wind, Moreland's been with me for a while. So, all right, this is tough. I don't have a default winner here. Dick Trickle versus Pork Chop Womack, Keith.
Golly.
I know.
Dick Trickle or Pork Chop Womack.
Yeah.
I'm going with Dick Trickle.
You're going
Staying with Dick Trickle.
You know what? I am too. And it hurts my heart to leave Pork Chop Womack behind here, but I'm going with Dick Trickle as well. That is just an all-timer. I mean, that is a Sports Center all-timer too. They used to every NASCAR race where he raced, they would always be like, and Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson and blah 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 blah, and then there'd be a pause, and then they'd just go, and Dick Trickle finished 28th, and boom, on to the next story. It was pure gold. All right, your final matchup. I think I know where you're going to go with this. Dick Trickle versus Earth, Wind, Moreland. I'm on a shining star, no matter who you are, shining bright to see.
Do you think Dick Trickle ever listened to Earth, Wind, and Fire?
You know, can't predict people's behavior, and especially not the late Dick Trickle. But so I would say there's an outside shot he probably heard September or, one of the more popular Earth, Wind, and Fire songs.
I'm going with Dick Trickle.
Yeah, me too. I didn't think I would, but given our criteria, and I liked all of these names, I picked them, so I hope I would. Dick Trickle was definitely the hands down favorite. So if you're scoring at home, and congratulations if you are, Dick Trickle is your number one seed and your number one winner all the way through. Did not have a loss, much like the F-14 in our military airplane bracket. Now let's see if it's registered for the predictions yet. Yep.
Bracket, by the way.
So PJ, let's see if we can see his. La la la. He got, of course, he was first because he was the only one. He got 23 points, 7 in the first round, 4 in the second, 4 in the third, 8 in the third. He got 11 of 15 right. He thought Coco, no, he had, let me see. He had Dick Trickle. No, he had Coco Crisp, I'm sorry. And that's it. That's the only one. But he did not have Creedence Clearwater or Jim Bob Cooter going forward. He had Earth, Wind, Moreland in the other one. But he had the right pick at the end, so. Or did he? I can never read this right. I think he had Jim Bob Cooter winning in the end. I don't know. He'll clarify for us, but either way, he's the winner. So, but PJ, next week, the Saturday bracket is when you need to put your prediction in because you can win a show shirt. But we're telling everybody to do that, so you're going to have some competition.
This Saturday.
This Saturday. The video show this Saturday, which is the 30th, May the 30th show. PJ, yes. That's the one you want to.
Yes.
You want to be the right prediction. All right, so an addendum on the graduation stuff. I meant to say this, but Pizza Hut, who we not endorse, we're not plugging them or anything, but they are giving away 500,000 free pizzas to the class of 2020.
Wow.
I wonder if that's enough pizzas, and that's what I thought. That was the first thing I thought, because people eat a lot of pizza. I mean,
yeah,
right?
Especially teenagers.
Right, yeah, no shit. All right, so that's that. What did we leave out? What else you want to say? How do you want to wrap this up?
I think I apologize for anytime my daughter calls, I pick up the phone. Sorry.
Yeah, duh, of course.
So, no, I think we covered everything. We played golf, which was great. Are we going to try to do that again this weekend?
Yeah, of course.
Or this week?
Yeah. We should probably try to attack bomb holder again now that we know it a little better, but we'll figure that out. All right, folks, that is it. We loved having you. Again, we can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Spreaker. You can find us on Spotify. That's where John B. listens to us. You can also find us on Facebook. This show is a JK. You can find us on Instagram, Real JK Podcast. You can find us on somewhere else that I can't remember that we update. I'll get to that another time. Yeah, it's a lot of work. So anyway, subscribe, review. That would really help us. Thanks to everybody who listens. And, of course, thanks, Darren, for listening, as always. Matthew Davis, again, I apologize for screwing up your name. I've got it right. Please continue to listen. We love you, Matt. Thanks for listening. Thanks to everybody. Keith, we'll see you Saturday, and we'll talk to you all soon. Bye.
Don't get boofed. Bye.